Hello, welcome back to Knoxville Nights. We are here for episode number 12. I'm Josh Gerlach, here with Blake Walker and Cade Higday, and we're going to recap a pretty sweet night of racing that happened over the weekend. We had Ryan Timms pulled off a thrilling green-white-checker last lap win over Brian Brown. Tyler Groenendyk went back to victory lane for, I believe it was the second time in about a month, maybe month and a week or so. And Jake Hinder won again. Ho hum. He got it done again in the Pro Sprint Series. But we've been teasing a little bit of an announcement, boys. We are finally able to reveal that we're really excited. We're going to be hosting Knoxville Nights live from the Knoxville Raceway on all 4 days of the 64th NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals, presented by Casey's, on the entertainment stage behind the ticket office. Woo-hoo! So you will be able to come and watch us record the show each afternoon as we recap the 35th Extreme, powered by Mediacom 360 Nationals, presented by Great Southern Bank, the Avani Windows and Doors Capitani Classic, presented by Great Southern Bank, and we'll also chat with some of your favorite sprint car drivers and sprint car racing legends. We've got one already locked in that we're excited to talk about soon. But we have a couple other guys we're going to reach out to as well. And it wouldn't be possible without all of your guys' support watching and listening here on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere that you do that. And of course, the opportunity given to us by the entire team at Knoxville Raceway. Safe to say that we are pretty jacked up about this, boys.
I remember it was like week 1 or week 2 when we started doing this. Maybe even before we started doing this, I said, boys, I think we got a chance to do this if we want to have an opportunity. And it worked. And it's all because of everybody that listens and watches. We appreciate it. I'm Cade. I'm sure you're the same way, Josh. I know for sure every week more and more people come up to us and say they love listening to the show. And more, everybody's like, I need to get some merchandise, which we're also working on that. That will be here eventually. But I have had many people say, when are we going to see merchandise and everything else? We can't thank everybody enough. It has been unbelievable, the support we've gotten. We've had great guests on, and this is just only the beginning.
Yeah, and it's cool to get the feedback, too, from the people that listen. I know it's not really like super socially active, which is getting better now. But like the people that come down in the pits after the races, and I know, Josh, you had the same thing too. A lot of people give their feedback and tell us what they think of it, and it's super cool to see.
Yeah, I never thought that we were going to be doing this. We've talked about this in private as well. Never thought that this was going to be something we'd be doing. But yeah, man, at the frickin' Knoxville Nationals on the stage, we've got a really cool, popular driver that we already got locked in, and we've got some good ideas for some other legends. So stay tuned. We hope to have that announced here in the next couple of weeks once we get commitments from those guys, because just making sure, we got the times and everything right, because it's a busy time, if you didn't know, down during those whole 10 days. So yes, thank you again, everybody, because we're really excited. Make sure to help get this in front of more people. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We, if you haven't seen it already, we actually, Blake and I did a little interview with Ryan Timms talking about his win last night, a couple minutes. So going to try doing a little short stuff like that. We're definitely going to be doing that during the Nationals as well. Not just Blake and I, but we got some ideas cooking up for Cade and I during the race nights as well. So you're not going to want to go anywhere else. We're going to have everything covered here at Knoxville Nights. So
we're here to stay. Sorry.
Yeah, damn right.
Or congrats. I don't know.
Yeah. On that note, we'll go ahead and get right into everything. We got a lot to talk about. So like always, we'll start off with your weekend, Cade. You actually started the night off pretty well. Charlie got you a good pill, or virtual pill, I guess, that you drew number 2, I think it was. So you went out early. That was very important, the way the track was. You qualified 6th. He probably wasn't the greatest of heat race luck, I'd say. You went battling with Jamie Ball and Tony Rost, and then you just kind of couldn't make up that time. And then you went 8th to 12th in the feature. Talk us through your night. How'd everything feel? You got a new trailer, so probably feeling good rolling up in that beast.
Yeah, the new old.
New old.
My dad's old rig from back in the day. I think He raced out of it up through, I think, '06. We were just talking before the podcast. Yeah, super cool to get that thing back, and it took a lot of work within the 2 weeks that we had it. But yeah, it was super cool to take him down memory lane, and there was a lot of people that stopped by last night that he was pretty good friends with back racing back in those days, and it was cool to hear some of the stories.
Happy birthday to him, by the way. It's your dad's birthday today, right?
Old man.
Well, hey, happy birthday. How about that?
Yeah, he spent his birthday helping me wash the car and getting some maintenance done today.
Great birthday present.
Yeah, for sure.
He says it's just today, Josh.
Yeah, he says it's just another day. He doesn't really care.
Yeah.
But yeah, good. I wouldn't really say good effort, but good pill draw. I wish we would have qualified a little bit better. Obviously, I know I say that, but I say that every week, I should say. But you know, second car out, first group. Obviously, like top 3 was the goal. And then at that point, you know, the heat race really doesn't matter all that much, and we would have been sitting a lot better. But yeah, heat race, we kind of tried something different on the car and had the left rear set up a little bit too far, and the curb was already kind of rolling up, and I was just too dumb to get away from it, it seemed like. Yeah, started 8th in the A and lost a ton of spots on the start. Fell back a long ways, and we're racing around 10th there for a while, and I'm sure a lot of people saw it. Got kind of the back right corner of the sideboard got all screwed up, and that crash with Sawyer. Well, not with Sawyer, when Sawyer was crashing. Super lucky not to hit him and make that accident way worse. That was a scary enough deal the way it was, and with the injuries that he had, if I would have hit him and sent him flipping even further, it would have been a terrible deal.
Yeah. But
yeah, just kind of raced around 10th and got stuffed in the fence one lap and fell back to 12th, and that was just where we landed.
What was the track like? I had a lot of guys in interviews and stuff I heard really heavy racetrack with a weird week. A lot of rain. Knoxville got a lot of rain over the course of the week, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're stuck in humidity at 60%. Highs in the 90s. Just give us a feel of what the racetrack was like. They didn't kick down the cushion for you guys for the 360 race, so it was a pretty wicked cushion. It caught a couple guys off guard. Even during the heat races, we saw Timothy Smith get into Clinton Garner getting up off of the cushion in turn 2. So give us a rundown of what the track was like last night.
Yeah, I wish they would have knocked the cushion down for us. We had a pretty bottom dominant feature just because the top was too far around and you couldn't really get a good lane going up there. And the guys that could, obviously, like Tasker, he drove by me like I was stopped on the top, and I was like, "Damn it, man!" But
so
yeah,
when you say that,
go ahead.
What exactly were you looking for? It like just for people at home. What would knocking that down help with?
It makes it to where you can run it a lot harder and not like you're not tripping up over it all the time. Yeah. Like when it's curved up like that, you kind of have to back it in there sometimes or drive it in super straight, and it's a lot more left foot than right foot at that point. So you got to slow down a lot more, and when the bottom's that good, there's just no point even trying to run it, which I need to probably tell myself before I start next week's A.
Because you can see the difference. Like if looking forward, you know, if you're watching races like that, you can just see the speed difference because like you were saying, you can see when you guys get tight up on the big curb like that, which obviously then if you got somebody running in there wide open on the bottom, like you did it. We talked about before as well. Like Ryan Levitt was also another one that was really moving up just because you could charge the bottom so well and it was holding you.
Yeah, and like a lot of people don't realize it, but that extra, whatever it is, 200 horsepower in the 410, it definitely saves you when you get up in that cushion like that. And that's why those guys can run it so hard. And I wish they would have knocked it down for us and let us kind of build it back up for them and watch some of those guys navigate it. Because it would have been curved back up for them for sure.
You obviously, well, it looked like you missed Sawyer, but like you said, you caught a little bit of that part of the right rear part of the wing. Any handling differences? You know, it seemed like a small bit of damage, but when you got close to it, it seemed a little bit bigger. Did you notice anything different?
Yeah, for sure. Like down the straightaways and mainly coming off the corner, it just had like no grip at all. And that's about the only thing that I can think of. There's a big like angle fin on the back part of the wing. Josh, I'll send you a picture and you kind of clip that in on YouTube. So
Yeah, I
people
got
can
I got
see
a picture from it as well, so I can
Well,
throw
here's
that in
the
there.
thing. I'm
You
gonna
got
call
great.
out Josh for a quick second. We always say, Josh, we can throw in some clips or some pictures.
Yeah,
Guess
yeah.
what Josh doesn't do? Throw in any.
Hey, I'm
So
burning the
there'll be
midnight
times-
oil.
there'll
I'm
be
putting in the
times when
hard
we-
work at 12 a.m. on a Sunday night, Blake. Damn it.
We'll say something. We're like, yeah, I think Josh will put that in, and I go back and watch. Josh didn't put it in.
Nope.
So we're gonna explain here.
I'll
with
put
our
the hand up.
hands.
I'll put the hand up.
Yeah.
That's on me.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll see the picture of what Cade's talking about.
Yeah, but it
Jeez.
definitely coming off the corner, I noticed quite a bit of difference. And we also found out after, I mean, it was probably 20 minutes after the feature, but my right rear bleeder quit working. So it probably had a solid 5 pounds of extra air in it that it shouldn't have had, and that definitely didn't help either.
So that just builds up even more stagger, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
think of it. I feel like sometimes we get to getting a little jargony. So like, if we have any new fans, like that's just like a cup rolling on the table. You know, the more stagger you get, the more that thing is going to want to turn. And Cade, you fought being loose a lot this year already, and I don't think you probably need any more stagger than you already have.
No, I can't find any less.
Well, one night you feel like it's gonna fall in your lap. I mean, and speed picks up, but Josh and I said it last night over text. You started 8th, and if that invert goes 8, guess who's on the pole? I mean, it's you. And I think last night with the track the way it was, it's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, and unfortunately you didn't catch it how you wanted it to. And we move on week by week and just keep rolling through. So we'll go to our pro sprints here to start the night out. First of all,
one quick thing, Blake.
Go ahead.
I apologize. I was so excited to get that announcement out. Make sure you guys stick around. We got Cam Martin in the back end. We had a good sit down with Cam. I think we got about a 30-minute interview with Cam. Unfortunately, Cade couldn't make it because he was feeling the heat and had a pounding migraine. So we let him off the hook. If he skips again, we're gonna have to talk about it. But
I'll tell you what, the
You'll have to hire
Knoxville
somebody else.
Knights crew is not built for heat, because I've missed an interview now because of heat. Cade's missed an interview now with heat. I guess Josh is the only one that stays hydrated out of this whole group. But
it's a tough job. Like
The worst thing is I work in the heat too. There's no excuse for me.
well, did you work a ton this week because of the rain? Did you get to do a lot out?
Well, any days that we had off because of the rain, I was working in the
You were
trailer,
going,
which
yeah.
was even worse than being outside.
Well, I mean, speaking of which, we said it, but it was hot, and that it was getting to a lot of drivers last night. Josh saw a couple guys that were really struggling because of the heat. Got up to 90 degrees. It got above 90 at one point around 4 or 5 o'clock, but the humidity was just so bad. Josh and I said it all night. It was hotter than Huset's, and Huset's was 104, like literally was in the hundreds, but we were saved by no humidity plus 30-mile-an-hour wind gust. Instead, last night, it was just that heavy. If you're down in New Orleans, it's just that heavy, muggy weather, and it just wasn't good. But for our pro sprints, Chase Young, good to see Chase Young back at the racetrack. Really wasn't out that long, all things considering. The bye week really helped him out. I think give him that extra week to heal. I don't know if he would have been back if we raced last week, but Chase Young was back after racing with those chemical burns. Anytime you come back from an incident like that or any injury, it's always tough. But Chase Young is kind of he's built different, as the kids would say. I truly believe that. It's good to see him back at the racetrack, and he didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, he didn't miss anything.
Looked fine. Looked good. I thought he was gonna win.
Yeah, he had a really good shot to win, and I'm not really pulling for anybody. It doesn't seem like, but I was for sure pulling for Chase there. Once he got up beside Brody, I was like, hell yeah, dude, go get it.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, he qualified great. He was, Luke Lane laid a hell of a lap down, but he was passing cars in his heat race, and like you said, Cade, it looked like he had a good chance to win there for a while, and then the yellow car came.
We saw our first ever Thinkin' Inc. A-Main invert draw, the Knoxville Raceway. Give them a ton of credit. Give us some credit. I'm just kidding. Don't give us credit. But yeah, I mean, there's a chance
we talked about it.
Became a thing because we were the ones that kind of pushed this into motion.
We brought
Also,
it up first.
You can thank Brian Brown. But really, it was really cool to see. They had this really nice helmet all put together, and you just lift the visor up. It has those 4 tires in it, the 0, the 4, the 6, and the 8. And every time at the end of each heat race, the final heat race, driver would come in and right there on the video board, it had the invert pole. I still saw a comment on Facebook. Someone's like, "This Knoxville format sucks." And I'm like, "We can't win, man."
Never.
And
Nobody would complain about the format.
I don't want to look
No.
ahead too much, but how fitting it was Brian Brown on the front row last night in the 410 feature after the whole thing. But they pulled the invert of 0 in the pro sprints, so that put Luke Lane on the front row. Unfortunately, jumped the start, and he kind of took off in turn 3. I mean, and I think, Cade, that might be one of those things. I don't know how much Lucas started on the front row, so you think it was just kind of one of those, okay, when do I go? When do I go? And unfortunately, he just took off early, and they did penalize him.
Yeah, I don't know. McCoy always says over the radio before you go green, front row side by side to the line. Everybody else knows the tail. That's exactly what he says every time. Yeah, it's pretty black and white there, I feel like.
And I feel like like you said, the anticipation, Cade, if you can even remember that far back, and like the first time you started on the front row, I'm sure the nerves are going a little bit. You just want to probably try to make it to turn 1 and get through turns 1 and 2. And yeah, it just did look like he got a little excited, went early, definitely went early. Now we'll talk about a different start at a different series we can have a discussion about that. But
talk about that later.
Yeah.
The no good, horrible, very bad season for Mike Mayberry continues. The defending champion has an engine explode on lap 3 and big fireball. I mean, that thing went up in flames in turn 1 and then just blew it up all the way around over to turn 3. Can't catch a break. I don't know. Is that the second or third engine he's blown this year?
Third.
Yeah, it's just like
that's crazy.
And for him, you're not making a ton of money in the pro sprints. It's obviously really hurting the pocketbook, you feel like. And it's just weird to see. Mike has been a staple of pro sprints the last couple of years, obviously a couple championships. He's been the model of consistency, and unfortunately, he is just having the worst year out of anyone, I think, at the track based off what we saw last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's typically a guy that doesn't have any problems either. It's weird.
That's what I was going to say.
Weird that he's just getting nailed by everything.
Because have you seen something like that, Cade, in the pro sprints? Have you seen a 305? Like because it's a crate motor, right? So it's like it's crazy that somebody would go through that many. It seems a little odd.
They're supposed to be these badass, reliable engines, and he just can't seem to get one to live.
Yeah.
It's a tough break. I mean, it's a tough break. I give him credit for coming back every week. There has been weeks where he has not come back, and I'm just like, I don't know if anyone would blame you. But, tough break for Mike Mayberry. Brody Johnson almost had the story of the night by far. Brody, because of the jump for Luke Lane, he was the one that inherited the front row and was able to hold off Chase Young for a majority of that race. We had a caution with 7 laps to go, and Jake Kinder, who was just kind of stalking around, just kind of holding back, just fired. I mean, that thing just took off with 7 to go, and he just drove past Chase and Brody like they were standing still. But I think it's a big learning experience for Brody. He's going to win. It is literally just a matter of time. It's looking just like how Scotty was a couple of years ago. He brought on a new sponsor. Walkie Power Sports was on the car this week. Brody's time is coming. He looked good on the bottom of the racetrack, Cade. It's not easy to run how he ran. And I'm always impressed when some guys, they're put in moments like that and they make the most of it.
Yeah, for sure. And he definitely, if it wasn't for the 88 car, he
didn't have a caution, I think he would have won the race.
Yeah. I don't know what Kinder found there on that last restart. I don't know if he, like you said, was just kind of hanging around and biding his time, but that thing looked like it had a 410 in it compared to the other 305s.
It did. It looked like an IndyCar push to pass right there. He ripped right through the middle and was like, see ya.
He said in victory lane that he just had to remind himself to breathe. And that, for Jay, who is someone who is the model of consistency this year and has obviously been winning for a long time, even he has to say, and he said, I was just everywhere in the early stages. And he's like, you got a caution, you move the wing back, kind of set it down into the track a little bit, and that's what got him going. It's 4 wins and 8 starts this year for Jake Kinder. He has literally been in competition every single night. I think his worst finish is 7th, and that's not even that bad. The championship's all but locked up, but I think we said it last week, Josh, if he wins out, he ties most all time. Is that correct?
Yep. He's now 4 away. He's 4 away from Stelzer, who has 17. He has 13 now. His next one will tie Eric Bridger.
There you go. So he's closing in ever so slightly. Congratulations to Jay Kinder on yet another win. The point standings for the pro sprints are actually kind of crazy. So Jay's 505 points or 502 points ahead of second place, but Tyler Thompson, Chase Young, and Brody Johnson are all within 30 points of each other, which is just crazy. And that's a big deal because, I mean, I'm thinking of the banquet and stuff. Is it top 3 get to talk at the banquet? Or is it top 5? I can't remember.
I think I heard that it's 3 now. It used to be 5, right? But I think
still,
it's 3
that's
now.
a big deal. I mean, that's a big deal to go and have a chance to speak up there and say, all right, here's how our season went. So while the championship is already locked up, the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th is going to be a fun one to watch.
And if I'm not mistaken, a battle for Rookie of the Year too, right? Between Brody and Luke.
Yeah, separated just by 12 points.
Yeah, it's definitely
a good point.
Yeah, it's a good little shakeup.
Pro sprints are doing just fine. It is it's awesome to see it. They've had good races this year, so keep an eye out for that battle. Orlando Roofing 360 Sprint Cars back in action. Carson McCarl was in the Verville 01. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, the Verville 01 was not here after Kerry Madsen took over just for a week after T-Mez he was no longer in the car. So Carson McCarl hopped in the car. He was fast. It's a top 10 car easily every single week. Kerry proved that, and Carson did that. Riley Goodnow goes quick time over 0.2 faster than Tyler Groenendyk and Tony Rost. Cade went out first, and that was really the end-all, be-all. And Riley showed good speed in a 410, too. So good speed for Riley. We'll talk about later in the feature, but he was also fast there as well.
Yeah, he showed good speed all night, and I'm not going to lie, I was pretty shocked that he was that much faster than everybody. I was like, where the hell did that come from? It's cool to see, though. He's been working pretty hard at getting better, and it's showing.
And people may not know either that he's got a pretty good driver in his own right back in his day, wrenching on that thing now, John Egan. So it's good seeing Egan back at the track. He's 8th all time in 360 wins himself with 12. So it feels like they're kind of hitting their stride now because we'll get to it. But that was definitely a sign of things to come.
Absolutely. Tony Rost was having a great night, and a night that felt like it might be his night. He was high point man after a P3 in qualifying. He went 6th to 3rd in his heat, and then he got the 4 invert in the feature because that's what was drawn from Ian Madsen. Ian Madsen, ironically, was the one who drew the 360 invert and the 410 invert. The night was perfect for Tony, and it was right there for him. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I don't know if they just made an adjustment or threw something at the car because, Cade, you know it. You might overthink it. And you're like, okay, we're running really well. How can we make this thing better? He dropped like a rock in the feature. But if I'm Tony, I'm quite happy about the qualifying and heat race speed at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've said it a million times before. And, geez, he'll tell you himself, too. He likes to run the fence, too.
Nothing crazy last night, thankfully, for his sake.
Yeah, no 4 wheels in the air.
Wasn't skateboarding on the guardrail, which was good.
Yeah, it was a good run for Tony, though. It just unfortunately went backwards in the feature. I don't know if Josh wrote this as the night was going, but he wrote, "Wow, Cade, great job nearly missing a flip from Sawyer." We talked about that, but Cade just missed it. Did you happen to see what happened to Sawyer, Cade? Because we only caught the tail end on the replay. Obviously, we didn't talk to Sawyer. Did you see anything? Did he break something? I don't know. Did you happen to see anything?
He ramped over a car. I think it was Carson, because Carson's rear bumper was like almost dragging the ground when we pushed back off. But he ramped over the back of him, and it just obviously was going straight to the fence after that. And I was already committed to running the top when I saw it start happening, and I had no choice to really lift at that point. I just had to kind of close my eyes and hope I made it through there once I got close to him. And I heard it hit the wing, so I was like, oh shit, here we go. And I made it through, and we got stopped on the red, and I turned around and I'm like, oh, it's really not that bad. Well, then as we kept racing, it just kept blowing apart.
Says it actually was pretty bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad to start, and then it just kept getting worse as we raced.
Yeah, because I know I've said it. I watched pretty much all the races from the tower in the center, and I caught the very middle part of that, so I saw him kind of flying through the air, and then I saw a white car coming at him. I was like, that's freaking Cade. And I didn't realize that you even hit him, because then later in the race I thought you just had tear-offs or something stuck behind your wing, and I didn't realize it until I walked down to see you and saw part of your wing was missing. I was like, well, okay.
It proves how much of a really tough human being that Sawyer is. He got out of the car on his own power. He was he walked all the way back to his hauler. There were a couple, and the medical crew followed him to his hauler, and that's where they did their evaluation. Same thing with Jack. We'll talk about that later. But Sawyer, they were even trying to help Sawyer with his hands, and he was kind of like shoving them off. He's like, I don't need you guys to hold me. It was his wife revealed this morning that it was 2 deep cuts on each leg. So something broke there within the leg region. He required 30 plus stitches, and after x-rays, it was also determined that he has a fractured bone in one leg as well. Sawyer's a tough kid. We've known that. He has taken a lot of very hard hits in his career. This one's going to take a bit to heal up for sure. But again, walking away, you'd think he just had a slight limp. We weren't really sure either. We thought maybe he was taken back to the hospital after the race, obviously. Tony thought maybe that, with that fire retardant, maybe it got up in his lungs, because that can sometimes happen. Drivers kind of breathe that in, and you're not really supposed to inhale something like that. So it stinks. It really stinks. Sawyer has been very good at Knoxville, obviously, in his career. He won a 360 race last year, and this is going to take some time to get him back on the racetrack.
I mean, the Phillips family has been a mainstay at Knoxville for a long time, including himself. He's been racing there for I can't even remember how long, and that's tough, man. It's been a really tough year for him. He's had a few really hard crashes and got caught up in some stuff that wasn't his own fault as well. And it was still cool because they posted on his Facebook page still was him that looked like reading a book to one of his daughters. So after a night that was probably a little bit of hell, still able to get up in the morning and see your family and do that with your kid. Glad it worked out as best as it seemingly could for him, because it was a scary crash.
Yeah. Our buddy Ryan Giles, I hope we didn't curse him when he came on the podcast a couple weeks ago, because unfortunately everything is going wrong for Ryan Giles, and we're just waiting because the car has been so fast. Obviously, he had those couple podium finishes right in a row, but he broke another cam spud last night. And you were talking to Matt Morrow, Josh, and he said he had never broke his cam spud in years. And Matt Morrow's
25 years
for a long time, and he's broken 2 in the last month. It's over. I mean, at least that ends your race in a way. And now Ryan Giles is back to 6th. Cam Martin has passed him in points. Can't catch a break, man. And the car's fast. It's really fast. Not when the cam spud breaks.
Yeah. No cam spud equals no go.
Because he was knocking on the door of 5th, right? He had started, I think, the back of the top 10, and I think he was challenging for 5th and looked like he was still moving forward. Yeah, tough break, man.
Tyler Groenendyk started on the pole and just never looked back. That car is very good in clean air. We've seen that, and we saw that when he won a couple weeks ago, gets his 2nd career win. Riley Goodnow was in tow, and he was starting to close in ever so slightly. Riley was trying a couple things, trying the top, trying the bottom. I was curious what lap traffic would do, but Tyler was able to get around lap traffic pretty nicely. We talked about it with Cam, but I think Cade got one off his belt, and he's like, let's go. Let's just keep rolling. And I feel like same thing could happen with you, Cade. If you get one, then the gate's open. You're like, okay, we can do this. We keep rolling. I think Tyler's found that sense of confidence, and he's starting to close in. It's ever so slightly. Tasker didn't have a great night by any means last night. The championship's far from over, but Groenendyk's up to 2nd in points.
Spin in your next heat race, Cade. I think that's all you got to do to win. Right?
He literally spun on his own. He even said, he's like, I don't know what we threw the kitchen sink at it. He's like, we spun out on our own.
Yeah, it's kind of like everybody we talk to, like especially the higher level 410 guys. They always say that once you get the first one, it's like you just said, the floodgates kind of open and your confidence is through the roof. And I think that's where Tyler's at right now, even after having to humble himself in the heat race.
Like you said, and Blake, you said it as well there. Like they were trying some stuff and they found out that that was not the right direction to go, and they definitely
figure that out about every week.
You're spinning on your own, I figured. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have to say though, we had Riley down there as well. I actually was watching lap times between those two and just kind of seeing, because Riley just looked fast, and I think Riley had the better car there, especially at the end, because he was really closing. And I think if you had maybe a couple, 3-4 laps, we would have had a hell of a race for the win.
And that's still a guy who has not won at Knoxville.
Yeah.
Riley Goodnow, you'd think maybe he's been able to get one. He has still never won at Knoxville. So that's another guy that I feel like can be right there. Last year it was the 410s who had all the first-time winners here. This year it's 360s. Clearly it's been that type of class, or at least breaking winless streak. So really cool to see for Tyler Groenendyk. Ryan Levitt goes from 19th to 11th. Levitt was flying 8+. He was really good in his heat race, so good run for Ryan and the crew. And then shout out Ian Madsen and the Seidencrans Racing team. They were front row starters, really didn't drop. Car felt really good. It was cool to see Ian back. He was a 360 winner back in 2020. That was his last 360 win. He hasn't won a 410 race since 2017 at Knoxville. I knew it had been a while. And then Alex Hill goes from 12th to 9th. Good run for her. Able to keep the car rolling on the bottom, and she goes from 12th to 9th. So really fun. Another good week. Obviously wish they would have kicked that cushion down. I think it would have been an even better race, but we're now turning into July, Cade. This is when things start to get rolling. We'll talk about bigger teams coming in here in a little bit, but I don't want to spoil anything, but July is when more of these 410 guys start putting 360s in between the frame rails, and this is when we start seeing 360 Nationals prep.
Yeah, Josh just made the gesture there. Money, money, money.
It's going to be fun to see what happens.
Yeah, and I'll touch more on this later, good competition is not bad for anybody that races here weekly.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. Your 410, Sammy Swindell was back in town. He is 4 months away from turning 70 years old, and he's still kicking it in that one car with Flea Ruzick. What a weird I think Wade posted it. That car's like a science project. You're just looking at it, you're like, all right, what do they got different on this car? Didn't have a ton of speed as the night went on, but Sammy still shows flashes of being Sammy Swindell. I mean, there were a couple times in this heat race he was really starting to move. It's always cool to see Sammy back at the racetrack, because I don't know how much longer he'll keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you got to savor. You got to, Hall of Famer. Yeah, anytime you get a chance to watch him race, he's not in his prime, obviously, but yeah, you never know when it's going to be his last race. So get there and check it out if you can, because like you said, it is always fun. I walked by and I was like, I wonder what they got going on with that thing this time, because Flea and Sean are just always tinkering.
When it's on the track, the wing looks like it's down in the cockpit. I mean, it just looks so weird. And then
it's almost
Thomas
like a
Meserol.
Dave Blaney type
Yeah,
deal. They're always doing something.
Yeah, seriously. And then Thomas Meserol was back at Knoxville, now in the BDS1, Tasker Phillips' former ride. He was pretty solid in qualifying. He went out early. That kind of helped him out and put him in the feature, so he didn't have to go through the B. Kind of finished toward the back half of the field. They are registered for the Knoxville Nationals, so Team Ez will be in the BDS1. They have a 305 for BDS, but I don't think he's going to run it at Knoxville. He said in his latest video that they were going to go run it in the Dakotas. So very possible we see him at the Race Saver Series up in Huset, or a couple different things, probably up at River Cities and whatnot. But good to see Team Ez back on it. Kerry Madsen, very fast in qualifying. The 55 goes on the front row again. We've said it all year, boys. I mean, Kerry's got speed. He's just eventually going to put it together, but Ramir has Knoxville figured out.
They've got it rolling for sure now. And just a couple moves different, like literally a couple moves different. He could have multiple wins this year, Cade. Like you just feel like he's knocking on the door now.
Yeah, he's beyond knocking on the door. He's just got to have things fall his way. Like you just said, a couple of moves and things shake out different. And that's just a testament to like how tough the competition is around here.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get too crazy, but our last two features at Knoxville for the 410s have been absolutely unbelievable. You think about the Corey Day battle with David Gravel and them. That was really good on our final night with the Outlaws. And then last night, arguably, was probably our best weekly feature of the season. Unbelievable night. We'll start out with Jack Anderson, who at one point, so Tony and I were calling the race together, and I look back and I see this red number 17. I'm like, that's not a lap car.
Yeah.
Jack started 14th, and Jack will say the same thing. It's like everybody else. Qualifying, got to get it figured out, because imagine if they get qualified figured out. Jack is unbelievable in the feature, and he's just not scared. I think that's the biggest thing. He really doesn't, how do I say it? He doesn't care. I mean, he's just so fast. He was getting ready to pass Kerry Madsen for the top four. I mean, Jack was going to maybe finish top three, and then something broke going into turn one, and he took a nasty tumble over into turn one. But he gets out of the car. He's hugging the safety workers. He's still smiling how he is. Time's coming for Jack Anderson. But my goodness, Twitter, that was the nice thing about last night. Everybody else's features were done, so everybody was tuned into our race. I saw a couple bigger Twitter accounts mention Jack Anderson. The name's starting to get out there for good reason.
Yeah, the kid drives his ass off and definitely is making a name for himself. Yeah, like you said, he had a good shot at, or pretty much had top four there, and had a good shot at top three. And I feel like if he would have had a yellow that wasn't him,
he could be right there.
He had a pretty good shot to run like second even, or maybe even win it. Which is crazy to even think about. I remember I've watched that kid grow up from about the time he was born, and yeah, super cool to see, but definitely a heartbreaker the way it ended.
Yeah, I mean, you put it perfectly, Blake. Like he does, it's not the same at all. But he runs the same way on iRacing too. Like he just freaking goes nuts out there. And we've talked about it with him, and he's like, if they don't suck in qualifying, like the
Golden.
dude, yeah, they have race trim pretty damn figured out. It would appear because he starts deep, which is the toughest thing. Cade, you can confirm that this year. It's not easy getting, in the dirty air and all that stuff, but for 18 years old, like
first full season in a 410.
Yeah. I'm glad that
and he missed the
that.
first like 4 nights because they didn't have their motor.
Dude hasn't won
That's
a
right.
race in a pro sprint or 360 at Knoxville. He's probably going to win a 410 his first
Jump
race.
right in head first. And he works on the stuff too. That was something else I was going to mention, because we talked about that with Gio and a few other guys this year. That matters. And it's really cool to see it paying off. It sucks so much to see him go for that big ride, and hopefully they can get rebuilt and get back out there and have that same speed, because they look really good. And imagine what he can do if he can qualify,
He gets an invert.
Well, even something on a Nationals prelim, draw well, go out early and lay a heater down. Like that can be a hell of a week.
Yeah.
Cade, for those that don't know, obviously with that team, what do they, I mean, maybe you don't know the whole thing, but what do they look like money-wise? Like, they're clearly not on the same level as Austin McCarl, nowhere near as Brian
Not
Brown,
even close.
So that's the thing. It's like the driver matters, because that car is nowhere near the same amount of equipment, pristine, everything else, compared to the guys that are running top 10 every single week at Knoxville. I think that's what makes this way more impressive than it is.
Yeah, and it's not junk by any means, but it's
No,
not.
it's not.
It's not
It's
all
not as
brand new
much
shit.
even.
Like
No.
and it's not all brand new shit like the other guys have.
Yeah.
It's a little bit older stuff, and they've raced it, but they work their asses off on it, and I think they only have one motor, so if they blow it up, they're screwed.
I worry, he just texted me. He's like, we're going to have a long week. And it sucks. He is going to have a long week, getting it all fixed up. So you hope the car comes back strong. What really got me is, while Sammy Swindell didn't come out of his trailer after the race for his autograph line, I was one of those standing in line. Sorry, Sammy. We'll catch you in a couple weeks, I guess. But there were more people standing. Jack and Sammy were parked right next to each other. There were more people in line for Jack Anderson than there was for Sammy Swindell, because I think people they really like the kid. For good reason. I want him. He doesn't like doing interviews and talking a ton, but I wish he would, because I feel like more and more people would figure out he's kind of like Tasker in a way, and he drives like Tasker, and I think it's great. It's so great for the sport, and hopefully he sold a lot of t-shirts last night to kind of help him out.
Go back a few weeks on Always Race Day. Connor got a good one with him after he had a really good run, and I told him you're coming on here sometime, so we'll have him on the show here soon.
One guy that really wants to get on this show, but we said we're going to have to wait. You're going to have to win something or something. I mean, JJ Hickle, he was flying last night, man. He went from 15th to 8th, and then he passed 3 cars on a green-white-checkered and ended up 5th. He was the hard charger. JJ's starting to get things rolling, boys. The 2M's starting to really get rolling. It's day and night from, unfortunately, the issues that Ryan Giles is having, but I was like, JJ, where'd you come from? And then he's like, well, Quilcene, Washington, all this other stuff. JJ being JJ. But it was awesome, man. It couldn't happen to a better guy. And another one of those guys, man, it's like, if he catches a good invert draw, gets a good qualifying night, JJ could be right there.
Yeah, he's always a threat. And he's kind of like Jack. He can run up through the field and just drive by people like they're stopped. And yeah, it's crazy the amount of really good race cars that these guys are passing every week. It's crazy.
Yeah, and we talked about it. He won a Sprint Invader show just a week or so ago, and put it in the show both nights with High Limit in the 21 car down there, the Dukes car, I think, right? So they're definitely rolling. There was some growing pains there early on, just getting him comfortable from talking with Matt, but I'd say he's pretty damn comfortable right now. And if you look at where Ryan Giles was running in the 360, like we were just saying, that car was running really well too. And it's no joke or no secret that Matt Morrow has a couple good pieces there, and he's got a couple good drivers that have shown that they're capable of winning.
Ryan Timms picks up his 4th win of the season at the Knoxville Raceway and 410 competition. It's his 5th win overall. If you remember, he won a 360 race. Last night was probably his most impressive. He started 8th, got all the way to the front in a pretty short amount of time. He passed Brian Brown on an unbelievable slider attempt, but then Jack obviously wrecked in turn 1. What was more impressive was he didn't end up in a 3-car pileup with Kerry Madsen and Tyler Drucke. He got past Kerry Madsen with an unbelievable move going into turn 1, and I think maybe about 5 inches was the way that they separated. He did not lift. We talk about it with him in our interview that you should go check out. But and then, Tony and I talked about it on the restart. And Cade, you might be the same way, thinking back to the shootout last year. The cone goes on the front straightaway. You're not side by side. Brian Brown had a big advantage that he could decide when to go. Brian kind of went middle of 3 and 4, so he tried to get a better start. And in some ways, you're like, oh, leader's got the advantage. He'll just hold it off. Brian chose the top going into turn 1. Ryan chose the bottom. And the bottom was the place to go. And Brian didn't choose it. And so they go around, and Ryan throws a slider on Brown. Brown then cuts it back underneath of him. And then going into 1, Brian slides Timms back up with 1 to go. And then Timms, like he says in our interview, that thing just sticks. And he can just turn it back down the track, and he rocketed away. It was a chess game. It felt like a chess game between one of the young stars in the sport and a guy who is one of the best of all time at Knoxville, Cade. And Timms just flat out outdueled Brian Brown for the win.
Yeah, and I don't even know that the bottom was really like the place to go. I feel like the top was starting to lay rubber coming off the corner, and like that was definitely the lane. And Timms just said, "Hell with it, I'm gonna stick the bottom and drive right by you, dude."
I put it in our notes. He put on a masterclass. A lot of guys would probably get flustered there. He just took the lead. You're coming to get that finish that lap, and then red comes out. It's like shit. Now what I got to do? You got Brian Brown, who's what is he, second in wins here?
68 career wins.
Yep. Out in fresh, clean air for a 2-lap shootout. Okay. And so I think he said it in his post-race interview that, Kerry got him earlier on the bottom. So he's like, oh, it's pretty good, I guess. So send it in there. And I mean, he got a good run. And then the next lap he came and diamonded it. It really reminded me of what Larson was doing in the one and only in 2020. Like he sent it up there and cut it down, and he just was rocketing. I said to him in our little thing after the races, it's just like you got a point and shoot car right now. Like that thing can get what looks like so out of shape, and it just zips right around. Like it just takes right back off. So I can only imagine, Cade. Have you ever had a car that is that feels like that, where
you can do anything you want it to do?
You can be pointing to the infield and it just rockets off.
Yeah, that 360 shootout last year was about like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I tried to spin it out a couple times.
Yeah. It's just so impressive. I tried to do it on the fly here, guys. I think that his worst regular show finish is 4th at Knoxville.
Jeez.
Yeah, so because did he finish outside the top 10 with the Outlaws?
He did. Yep.
Yeah. Which Austin did too, and Austin's only top 10, not top 10 finish is with the Outlaws. So that just proves how tough that is week in and week out. But it's crazy to me. We talked about it, or you guys talked about it a couple weeks ago with him when you talked with him. He burst on the scene. He's this unbelievable midget driver. And then, he feels like one of those guys that's going to be really good on bull rings, which, I mean, he is for the most part. We've seen it at Huset's. And then he goes out and podiums with the Outlaws in one of his first career starts, and he's only like 15, 16 years old. And now he's coming to these big tracks, and boy, he's got Knoxville figured out at such a young age. It's awesome to see. I'm really happy for Liebig. I think that's really the coolest part about this whole thing is that they have just got something figured out. We saw the taste of it with Scott Boguski last year, and I think Scott might have been a good lead the way. All right, here's what we got. Let's keep rolling with it. And they've just built on that with Ryan Timms. And
he's got the right demeanor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, like he reminds me in a way like a lot of Emerson Axum. Also, I think we've talked about that. Like you just never see him get too excited or too down on themselves. At least in public, we did get a little peek with Ryan when he did the interview with us a few weeks ago and said that there were struggles in the 5T, but they're definitely not there anymore. That 10 car is freaking fast as hell at Knoxville.
And, we were talking about it to his stepmom, Christy, last night, but if he didn't miss that 1 week, I mean, the points would be different. I think he'd be leading, honestly. It'd be right there. And then the whole conversation was about the King's Royal because, what's the plan? Well, the plan right now is that Ryan's going to go to the King's Royal. And And that's kind of a week that we circle, Cade, of who leaves and who doesn't, because whoever stays back, there are no drop weeks in Knoxville. So it's like, if you stay, you get the points. So I think there's going to be a couple games being played, or a couple like, hey, where are you guys going? Like, hey, Austin,
Yeah.
Kerry, Brown, where I'd expect Brian to go out for sure. I think that's just kind of a given with Casey's and all these big sponsors. Kerry's kind of hit or miss. Austin's hit or miss. But if those three guys go, why wouldn't you stay back if Ryan?
I think you go out for Wednesday and Thursday at least.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think you go at least out there for Wednesday, Thursday. Like all three of those teams have, the funding that they can make that trip. So I think, you kind of do that. You run that, what is it, the Joker's jackpot or whatever.
Yeah. And then High Limit pays that. They have a big race on Tuesday that got moved back or something because of weather. So I mean, there's a lot of racing to be had. But I don't know. Ryan Timms, he's on a heater, and he's just been so fun to watch. Jai Corbett was also very good last night. He's only had a few starts this year, but man, he's put on a couple good shows. Riley Goodnow had a great night, both in the 360 and the 410. We talked about that. So good run for those guys as well. It's Josh's big question of the night before we get to our outside of Knoxville recap. This was a big topic this week, Josh. Go ahead, tee this thing up because it was big.
Oh yeah. So Blake, I did not expect this, but Blake, you shared in our group chat earlier in the week that it seems like half of High Limit has signed up for the 360 Nationals. We had guys like Brad Sweet, Rico Abreu, Kyle Larson, Casey Kane, I think Tyler Courtney, the defending champion. They're all signed up right now, and so just threw it up on our page, because it felt like that was kind of newsworthy. And little did I know that it was going to explode on the old Facebook, and there were a ton of opinions, we'll say, ranging from, oh, that's awesome, to this should only be for 360 drivers. You shouldn't let these guys come in and steal all the money. So I feel like who better to ask than like one of the competitors that gets to race against all those names and more that we just talked about. Cade, do you think it's a bad idea to let these national touring 410 guys come in and beat up on you lowly 360 drivers?
Absolutely not. I've said it a million times, and this was kind of what I was touching on earlier when I said I'd talk about it later. But anytime you can race against somebody that should be better than you, it's not a bad thing. You learn things every time you're on the racetrack. And if you can beat them, you are an absolute hero for a couple weeks at least. I don't really understand why anybody thinks it's a bad thing. I get that people think it's like cherry picking and all this stuff, but it's really not. I always talk about it like when Reitzel comes back to town. I love racing him, and he just naturally makes you better because you're racing against him. Well, not anymore. He did naturally make us better because we raced against him every week.
Yeah, and Ayrton Jeniton jumped in the comments also. I saw he said basically the exact same thing. Dennis Gainey was in there chatting it up with people. Surprise, surprise. He was like, we beat however many guys, however many 410 guys on the prelim night when they won with Caleb, and then the same thing on Saturday night. That's my same exact thought process. I'm not a driver. I'm not a crew guy, team owner, whatever. I just want to see the best drivers there. Like, it's unfortunate for the Ironman that they're going to lose those guys, but I think it's badass for Knoxville and the event that we're going to have. I joked, but I think seriously pretty close to half of High Limit is going to be at the Knoxville 360 Nationals. Who knows? Could even maybe have a NASCAR driver in addition to Kyle Larson, have a NASCAR driver or two jump in there because they're right in Newton. So what do you think, Blake? I feel like you're probably going to be in the same boat as us.
Selfishly, it's amazing for the track. I mean, sorry, I'm just going to think of it that way. This is unbelievable for Knoxville for good reason, because you know what's going to happen? A lot of NASCAR people are going to be in town at the Iowa Speedway, and they're going to see, oh, Kyle Larson's racing a sprint car. I've never watched Kyle Larson race a sprint car. So they're going to come to Knoxville, and they're going to watch Kyle Larson race a sprint car. And yeah, it's for one guy, but I don't care. I mean, like, that is awesome. The track's going to get so many more people coming out. And then from there grows relationships that they didn't even know. They could watch somebody like Jack Anderson race because Jack's going to run 360.
Cade Higday.
Not even Jack. Cade Higday can put on an unbelievable show, and they're like, man, this Cade Higday he's pretty good. Like, I want to learn more. I want to know more about it. Everything can only grow from this easily from Knoxville. There's no losing if you're Knoxville Raceway here. If I'm I-55 and I'm someone with the Outlaws and I'm like, it would have been nice to have those guys. Yes, it would have been great to have those guys. But I'm wanted to believe that the 360 Nationals keeps growing in popularity. We've seen that the last couple of years. And tell me it's cherry picking. Larson's done this 3 times before, and he's never won it. I mean, I know it's not out of the realm of possibility. Larson's mind is clearly thinking, I want to become the first person to win both in the same year. Nobody's ever won it both in the same year. We've had a couple guys that have won both, but nobody's ever won both in the same year, which would just be an unbelievable feat. I don't think people would quite realize that. That's an unbelievable feat if somebody can do both.
Can you imagine if he won the Cappy also and swept all 3? That'd be incredible.
So that was another thing. So the NASCAR race starts at 2:30 on Sunday. Larson realistically could maybe make the Cappy if he really wanted to try it. And you said the same thing, Josh. Travel's not bad if you're already in Knoxville for Brad Sweet and them, because they're going to run the Cappy. They run it every year. So it's cool, I'm already here. I don't have to worry about it. I don't think Brad's driven a 360 this year, so it's just throw in the 360 engine. A lot of guys did run that Volusia 360. Remember when they did their week to start the year with ASCS, but there's no losing if you're Knoxville. This is an unbelievable opportunity. I hope we get a couple more NASCAR drivers. Shane Van Gisbergen, I'd love to see you in a sprint car. I think it'd be awesome. I think it's please. It's awesome, man. I'm all for it. It's anybody that says different is just not thinking straight about how this is good for the sport.
I think it kind of comes from a good place, people wanting the best for guys like Cade, honestly. But yeah, overall, it's at the end of the day, it's competition, and you want the best to show up for your competition.
Were people mad that Ryan Timms came down and won the 360 race a couple weeks ago? I mean, that's what I thought. I
didn't really see many complaints with Tyler Courtney winning it last year either.
Yeah. It did.
And I mean, honestly, we've talked about it here as well. I think you usually get a hell of a show on Saturday. I mean, all week, honestly, but the racing, it's a lot tighter because it doesn't get quite as spread out. So these new fans, if you can bring in a whole bunch of new fans and you can peel off, say 5 of them, that's a positive because you've got 5 new fans.
When you think about it, when was the last time a Knoxville 360 regular won the 360 Nationals? Clint Garner, I'd have to say. But other than that, most of the time it is a 410 guy that comes down, and it still means the world to him. Brian Brown a couple of years ago, I mean, you'd think he won the 410 Nationals the way he celebrated it for good reason. Yep. So I mean, it's awesome. It's good for the sport, and obviously people all have their opinions on it all, but good question, good post. And again, you can check it out on Knoxville's website. They update it pretty much every single day. We're going to get more and more guys as it is. So it's a fun little thing for your daily thing if you want to see, all right, who's going to be in it. So
yep,
pretty cool. Outside of Knoxville recap, it was a busy week. High Limit was at Lucas Oil in Missouri. Aaron Reitzel on the first night got off the final corner behind Tanner Thorson, but was able to squeak by. Tanner threw a insane slider to try to get to him, and Reitzel was able to power around for the win. Good run for Chase Randall in 4th. Aaron Reitzel, man, I don't want to spoil it, but he's your points leader after those 3 nights. What a time, man. What an unbelievable time. To think of everything that Aaron has been through in the last 5 years, and from obviously dominating here at Knoxville, it's awesome to see him leading points.
Yeah, and it's funny. Excuse me. It's funny because everybody kind of shit talked him for running Knoxville, and everybody that I talked to, I'm like, you guys forget that this guy's a National Series driver. He's not. People think he's gonna retire. He's just racing Knoxville now, and I'm like, no. You got to realize this dude can still out and go win a championship too. That's what people were forgetting. I feel like
it's first time. I'd like to go back. First time a guy named Brad Sweet, Rico Abreu, or Tyler Courtney wasn't leading High Limit points. So I mean that says a lot. And first official year full time with him, may I add. It's not like he just was gonna ease into it. No, he's jumped on. And oh, by the way, he's leading midseason or the midweek championship points as well. So there's a chance he could sweep them both. Still a long way to go. Still got to go out to California, and that's going to be tough. Brad Sweet and them excel out there, but good win for him.
Aaron's pretty good out there too.
Yeah. And if he wins both of those things, he's not going to hear shit because he's going to be making a lot of money doing that.
I hope he remembers us in Knoxville if he wins both of them. Rico Abreu breaks the Kubota scheme curse. It was looking like that scheme wasn't going to be any good, but boy, Rico got it going. He got around Tyler Courtney and Ashton Torgerson, who has been pretty solid the last couple weeks in that 1A. I think Bobby Allen and them should be quite happy with Ashton. Obviously was a winner a couple months ago. Rico took home the win, got back on track after a tough couple weeks. According to Josh, he was just trying stuff for a couple weeks. So good to see him back in victory lane.
he just wanted to get behind a little bit to challenge himself.
Give the field a chance.
No, not at all. I mean, we talk about it, it's a long season. Those guys are racing 80, 90 times a year. You're going to have that, unless your name is David Gravel, like then you just never finish outside the top 5, like we were saying before we started this. But yeah, that was a good race. Like Ashton, I'd be surprised if he had ever been to Lucas Oil before this week, and he led for a while there and looked pretty damn good.
Absolutely. Tanner Thorson, we've talked about him the last couple of weeks on social media and whatnot. His time is coming. You feel like it's right there. He started on the pole on the Saturday night feature, was doing everything right, but the car was really sideways in turn 3 and 4 for especially. Chase Rodman even said it a couple laps before he did spin. He was leading and just spun out on his own accord. He was just sliding into the corner on the bottom, trying to make it work, and he did a complete 360 with 17 to go. No caution. They gave him just the 360, and he kept it rolling. That's a topic of conversation we'll touch on here in just a second. Tyler Courtney never looked back and got his first high limit win of the season. If you remember, he won at Knoxville with us, but that's crazy. Tyler's first win of the year, but 360 and move on. Do we think it should be a caution when a guy does a full 360 or no harm, no foul? It was on the bottom of the track. Keep it rolling. We saw it with the Outlaws a couple weeks ago. They did call a caution.
What do you think, Cade, from a driver's seat? Safety wise, and then just your opinion.
I guess I didn't see the spin. I was a shitty race fan like usual. Didn't watch the races.
They're gonna flame us in the comments section.
They can flame me. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like if there was nobody around him, yeah.
It was in the grass, or kind of in the grass. He spun just 360 and went.
Did he come out like into traffic, or how did that
traffic
work?
was coming?
Traffic was coming, but he just blended right back in 7th. So it's not like he dropped all the way, and he never stopped. I mean, he kept it throttled up the whole time. So maybe that's the thing. If you really want to caution, just stop.
Yeah. I don't know. That's hard to dictate. I feel like a lot of places just naturally throw the caution because they think you're going to stop. But yeah, if you can keep going and not crash somebody else, hell yeah, let her rip.
I'm really conflicted because I like that idea as well. And if you like, I almost feel like there has to be some gray area, but then that opens you up for a bunch of conspiracy theories and stuff. Because I can't remember who it was. Dusty Zomer was involved. I can't remember if Dusty spun or what happened. But trying to keep it going so that way they would either blend in or not draw the yellow. And I think it led to like Chase Randall's big crash in the fire.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So it's like, especially big tracks like Lucas Oil, like Knoxville, I feel like it gets to be a little bit of a safety concern when you got guys looping it in the middle of the field and trying to gas it up to keep going so you don't bring out the yellow. Like you could put yourself and other guys in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
It depends on where it's at because I cannot for the life of me think of the Outlaw one a couple weeks ago. I think it was gravel that spun.
It was gravel.
Yeah. But he was on the bottom. It looked almost eerily similar to Tanner Thorson. So in that thought, you're like, he's out of the way. I mean, if he wants to stop, sure, we'll call the caution. But gravel technically didn't stop. He just 360'd and they were like, call the caution. So I don't know. It's interesting. Overall, in the races that I watched for Lucas Oil, I did watch everyone. Thank you very much, Cade. The racing was phenomenal. I'll put my hand up and say I went into this week saying these are not going to be very good races because Lucas Oil's a late model track. It's a really good late model track. But by God, it was unbelievable. Very good racing. The top was so fun. Aaron Reitzel almost lost that Wednesday or that Thursday night feature because he got his right rear up over that cushion. If you go over that cushion, you're gone. It's flat and you're all the way to the fence. Trust me, I've done it on iRacing like 18 times. But man, they put on a good feature. Very good every 3 nights. Take a bow if you're Lucas Oil.
Even Reitzel said it on Thursday. Like that was the best track that he's ever seen there. And I was the same way, Blake. I was like, man, the races that I've been able to see there, sprint car wise,
just not great.
Yeah, but that surface was phenomenal.
And the facility is unbelievable. So if the racing's as good, you got a good feature here. And they run their big 360 stuff. It's
unfortunately during the late model nationals at Knoxville because I've been getting bugged to go down there for a few different years, and I would like to go do it. It just sucks because it does conflict with the late model nationals. Cade, you probably haven't raced there, have you?
No.
Put it on the list.
Yep.
He said Reitzel said a lot of things at Victory Lane on Thursday night.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I did watch Thursday and Friday. I just didn't watch
He got that one. World of Outlaws are at Cedar Lake for their Independence special, not on Independence Day. They took 4th of July off. Both them and High Limit are taking 4th of July off. So guess what? We'll see them at Knoxville. But
they did not leave the fireworks at home, Blake. I shared a picture with you guys. Holy moly.
They put bombs on the back straightaway. So if you're sitting in the backstretch, you might not be with us anymore. But on Friday night, the big story was Carson Macedo. He started on the pole and jumps the start, and they give it back to Sheldon on the front row. We just looked at it beforehand. Cade says that he did, in fact, go early. You have to go out the line. You're always told stay side by side when you get to the line, and you should be side by side. But Macedo jumps it, and they give it to Sheldon. Gravel gets around Sheldon and takes off. 10th World of Outlaws race of the season, 1 for David Gravel. We watched it. Obviously, people listening have probably seen it. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Josh. What do you think?
I'll be honest. I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but I did kind of watch the highlights back. And like I told you guys, the thing that jumped out to me the most for both races, honestly, was it looked a little bit more cowboy up than I'm used to. Like it seems like it's usually on the verge of taking rubber there, just because it's always super slick and wide. And see the highlights of like Baylog and them kind of, or Schuhart like rolling the bottom in the slick, and it was not that this week. There was some good racing going on, and the Macedo jump thing, him and Luke Lane, it kind of looked like they did the same thing. Like rule of the law.
Well, Luke Lane took off at the entrance of turn 3. Carson took off about 10 feet.
You're busting his balls here. It wasn't that bad. I mean, he was definitely a few car lengths in front of the line, but it really did it. Like it's the same thing, and I feel like the consistency across tracks and series could be better with that, because it feels like you can get away with that sometimes, but then sometimes it's called, very rule of the law there. And unfortunately, for Macedo, that because he came back and won last night on Saturday, that could have totally changed his weekend if that didn't happen.
Yeah, he definitely went early, but I don't know if I'd send him back a row for it. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
but then why do you have why do you have the
What?
line then, right? If you're not going to call that, then why do you have the line?
Well, it depends who's on the front row.
Hey, come
No,
on,
there's
now.
a rule there, Cade. There's a rule.
Come on, guys. And that's the thing. Like, what is a warning and what's a penalty? Or and I thought for sure they were going to give Luke Lane a warning just because sorry, it's their first time on the front row, maybe, but it's just kind of discretion.
Do away with warnings is my thing.
Yeah,
Then you don't have to worry about it.
I'm with
If
that.
it's a rule, it's a rule.
Yeah, it's a rule. There is no warning. It's like just a slap on the wrist. Hey, don't do that again.
You don't get a
yeah.
warning if you're light at the scales.
Yeah, because
No, you don't.
they're going to do it again. We had a couple more guys last night just missed the scales after qualifying. Mike maybe already missed the scales,
Yeah.
and then Marty Stevenson missed the scales. Marty, I can understand because first time back in the car, but Mike, it was kind of different. But so David Gravel wins it. Is he reaching 20 wins, guys? Do you think in the World of Outlaws?
What's he at so far? Do you know off the top
He's
of
at
your head?
10. He's halfway
No.
there.
Nope, not
Don't
gonna
think
do
he's
it.
No, I
gonna
don't
get
think so either.
Nope.
It's gonna be. I think it'll be close.
He might have 70 top fives, and I'm only half
I think-
joking there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's gonna be really close. But still, unbelievable season for Gravel. On Saturday night, Giovanni Scelzi led early, again, just looking for a win. He's obviously fought so many ups and downs this year. We talked about it with him a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, caught the wall, and it shredded apart his right rear, ended his night, and Carson Macedo was the one who got around. His first ever win at Cedar Lake. He really thanked Philip Dietz, said they really had the car dialed in. If Carson can get hot, well, watch out. It looks like he's coming to Knoxville next week. This is what Carson needs just to keep rolling here.
Yeah, just got to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, and it was good too because Donnie was a mover. Like Donnie actually seemed like he had a decent night. He qualified kind of bad.
There's only 23 cars
that surprised me.
this week. That was very interesting.
I don't think he cracked the top. He didn't crack the top 15. I don't think in qualifying, but I think
he
ended up
was
getting
like
up to 6th.
close to 20th. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I heard something about it last night. Shout out Bill
Baylog on Friday. Started last because he didn't even get to run his heat race and finished 8th.
That dude is on a heater right now. Also,
Bill is on one.
It's unfortunately there's a Knoxville guy that took a hell of a ride. Kelby Watt went out of the building last night, and
somebody else did. I don't know the name for the life of me, but somebody else did during either a heat race or something. But
yeah, I don't remember either. Looking at the results, I don't know who it would have been, unfortunately. But that was a big ride too, and like there's just no fence there on the guardrail. Like there's another fence kind of back away from the track. If you've never seen Cedar Lake, and Kelby cleared that thing easily, and it really tripped me up when I saw it at the track because his wing stayed on the track. And
Yeah,
I was like,
stayed sitting there.
Yeah,
Turn
that
two,
car
and the car's
looks,
nowhere near.
looks really mangled. Oh, the car is gone. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like he's okay, which is great, and just a bummer for them. They've had a rough little bit here.
Yeah, it was a wild week of racing. High Limit and World of Outlaws are off this week. We talk about it with Cam Martin, but ASCS is at Belleville, so that'll be fun to watch. And then obviously PA Speed Week will roll through if anything big happens there. PA Speed Week's been rained out the first 2 nights. They're racing as we speak right now at BAPS, but if anything happens, we'll talk about it next week. So Josh and I had a chance to sit down with Cam Martin. Really fun interview with Cam. He was coming off a 4th place finish, obviously picked up his first career 360 win at Knoxville just a couple weeks ago. He's a winner at Jacksonville. He's won a couple local shows, and we talk about his upbringing and everything else. So let's go to that interview with Cam Martin here on the Knoxville Nights podcast. Cam Martin joins us here tonight after the races here on Farm Bureau Financial Services night for our Knoxville Nights interview. Cam, we appreciate your time coming and chatting with us. We couldn't get you 2 weeks ago when you won. Congrats on your first career win here at Knoxville. Josh and I wanted to kind of start, we don't really know a ton about you, just kind of from where you came from. First of all, how old are you? And then how'd you really get into all this?
Yeah, I'm 20 years old from Ankeny, Iowa, born and raised. Graduated from Ankeny High School, currently going to Iowa State University.
Let's go Cyclones.
Yep, go
boys.
So currently,
Yep.
What are you majoring in?
Agricultural studies.
Interesting.
So, yeah, kind of grown up around agriculture and just kind of wanted to keep pursuing it. But I haven't really raced all that long or all that much compared to a lot of other kids my age, but my entire life, I started going to Newton Kart Club when my brother, he was racing go-karts, and I've just grown up all around it. I got to do a few cage kart stuff at English Creek for a couple of years, maybe a dozen races, not a lot. And then I just kind of got thrown into a sprint car and said, here you go. Here's an opportunity. And I took it, and I did a year of the Race Saver stuff, and then a year of the Pro Sprint stuff here at Knoxville. And that was really fun, but I only did maybe a dozen of that too. And then this is my 4th year in a 360 and second in a 410 now. And, I was fortunate enough to have Skylar Prohaska come and helped me a couple years ago, and we've just been hitting it hard ever since.
Sweet.
What's it like having a guy like that around? He's got plenty of laps under his belt, so it seems like that's probably been pretty beneficial.
Yeah, I've known Skylar ever since I was racing go-karts. He was actually my first teammate. When the Slideways dirt track was still a thing, Skylar and I, we raced go-karts together for Jerry Jansen, actually. And I really didn't even know who he was at the time. And then a couple years later, we talked him into coming and helping us. And Skylar's great. He's got a couple Jackson Motorplex track championships. He finished on the podium once here for 360 Nationals. He's done a bunch of go-kart stuff. So, it kind of just first started him coming helping on the weekends, and then our friendship has grown, and we've just worked together ever since.
Obviously, you and Chris's cars, your brother Chris, very similar. I mean, they look the same. They've always looked the same. So it's kind of one of the same 4 and 44. What's it like racing with Chris? And you get to do it now in a 410, sometimes back and forth. But is there a rivalry there? Is it you're always looking to help each other? What's that brotherly relationship look like?
It's kind of all the above. I remember the first night I beat Chris, which was a couple of years ago, and it was a long ride home for him. I thought it was great, and I've been fortunate enough. Chris and I, we have a really good relationship with each other, and on and off the racetrack. Obviously, all of our racing stuff is the same. Work out of the same shop. Work together every day. Have to deal with each other every day, but no, it's awesome getting to race. My brother. A lot of people, they step down from having a parent or a dad race. So it's just cool getting to race a brother, a sibling rather than a parent. But yeah, like Skylar, I'm fortunate enough to have him. help me with my stuff. And then Danny Osowski now this year, and started last year. He's been helping Chris. So our cars they're set up a little bit different, just to our liking. But other than that, it's all the same, and we're having a blast. And if you asked him, I'm sure he'd say he'd love racing with me, other than the nights I beat him. And
Right.
you know, it sucks when he beats me.
Haven't had any run-ins yet, have you?
No. So
Keep it that way.
yeah. When we first raced together a couple years ago, my dad sat us both down in the race trailer before the night even started, and I've never seen my dad so serious in his life. He looked Chris in the eyes, looked me in the eyes, said, "Don't run into each other." So
It's worked.
yeah, for 4 years now, and 360, 410 here at Knoxville, all the way down to Florida. You know, we've raced each other, and we've had some slider battles before, but haven't touched bumpers once.
Good.
It's that easy.
Yep.
I wish it was that easy.
Yeah, right.
What do you think?
So I was just going to get back to kind of the way you started. Were you always wanting to be a sprint car driver, or is this just kind of come out of nowhere?
This is a side gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't until I was 16 when Dad said, "Okay, Cam, if you want to race for a full summer, here you go." I actually, since I was really young, I actually was really big into horseback riding. I still have a few horses at home, and I've trained a few from being little foals. So that's kind of what I started out as doing, and now I've kind of put that behind me as a really good memory and experience in my life, and I've just been going racing with full head of steam.
Now you try to harness 900 horses.
Yes.
Each night.
Yep.
That's good way to
That's
put
why
it.
you tune into the Knoxville Raceway.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of stuff, Blake.
Last year was probably one of your biggest wins of your career, winning at Jackson, and beating Aaron Reitzel. That's one thing. I mean, that's such a big win for you. Walk me through that night. What do you remember from it? Obviously, hopefully you remember a lot from it. You're still young, but what do you remember from that night? I just remember the elation in Victory Lane, just to know you finally got it done. Walk us through that day.
Yeah, so I got a local 360 race win 2 years ago. So obviously my first sprint car win, that was pretty cool. But last year, winning at Jackson during Outlaw Weekend, during the Jackson Nationals, it was so cool. You know, a lot of people, they don't always get the opportunity to win a big race right away. And then like Aaron and I, we've been friends for a couple years, and we've always gotten along. So obviously to hold him off, he's the best in the world personally, I think. So hold him off was pretty cool, especially a few weeks before that. I got second to him at Jackson. So it was kind of nice to, you know, beat him that night. And then a couple weeks later, came here to Knoxville for championship night, led a few laps. Here comes Aaron Reitzel. I got second to him. So
Does that to a lot of guys around here.
Yeah.
oh yeah, Aaron, he's so good, and he's done it a really long time. So he's worked really hard for it, and you know, I have nothing but respect for him. He's an amazing race car driver. But now showing some speed. You know, I got to race side by side with him a few weeks ago at Burlington for a Power Eye show. That was really cool, and it's just kind of shows my progression over the last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to catch you real quick. You said you won a 360 local race. Which was your first one? Where was that? What series?
That was at Malvern Bank 360
There you go.
at Crawford County Speedway. So that was,
Who'd you beat in that? You remember a lot from that one?
yep, Don Droud Jr.
There you
was
go.
So
Hey.
He knows how to get it done.
Yeah.
Don Droud. Don, he's also a really good race car
So
driver.
when you
and-
win, you beat pretty good drivers when you do it.
And you win
Right.
when the Outlaws are here, because you did it a couple
Yeah,
weeks
what
ago.
the world's up with that?
Yep. So, yeah, and back to Jackson, you know, Skyler, having him, especially at Jackson, is just huge benefit to myself. He has so many laps around there, huge notebook. And everyone asks me, Cam, what's your favorite racetrack? I got to say Jackson, just because I'm so good there. And that was probably the first racetrack I ever felt truly comfortable at. Jackson has a special place in my heart. My first big win, personally. So, yeah.
And it wasn't rubber, but it was kind of a hammer down.
It was
track,
bottom
right?
dominant. Like, it reminds me a lot of your Knoxville win. You
Yeah.
had to be methodical because if you missed, you were done.
That's where I was going. So you held off, Aaron Reitzel, who's winning a lot on high limit tour right now.
Yep.
And then you held off he's number 2 in wins,
Yep.
Clint Garner.
Yep.
All time here with the 360s, 360 Nationals champion. Were you kind of playing that back in your head, or you've experienced that now, trying to hold off a really good driver, knowing that they're right on your tail?
Yeah, I remember at Jackson, I started on the front row with Caleb Johnson actually, and he got a really good start. Actually, I beat him into 1, and then we got to lap traffic in like 5 laps, and like you said, Jackson that night was hammered down, super muddy, so it was super narrow. So I actually slipped up, almost hit the wall trying to go through lap traffic. Here comes Caleb, blew my doors off, so I'm like, oh, gosh darn it. And I knew Reitzel was right behind me, and I'm like, all right, well, better pull my head out of my butt and get going. So Caleb, he made one mistake that race in lap traffic, just like me, and I was able to slide him, and then just lap traffic, it was terrible that night, but I was able to get through that, hold off Reitzel. I think Matt Jewell was also really fast that night.
Yep.
So that was super cool. And then, like you guys said here too, starting on the front row next to Clint Garner. I've been friends with Clint and the whole Garner family for a couple years now, and that was definitely nerve-wracking. Starting next to him, I got a really good jump into 1, and he drove right around me, and I'm going down the back stretch lap 1, I'm like double guessing myself. I'm like, do I commit to the bottom or do I, chase him up top? Where personally, I love ripping the cushion.
Really?
I love it.
Dang, I could have swore you just loved the bottom.
Well,
But you can run it. There's a difference
Yes.
between being able to run it and loving it.
Yep. Yeah, I love the top. And like at Jackson too, I won that race around the bottom, won the race here around the bottom. So I'm hoping for my first race where I can actually
Rip it around
rip
the top.
Get a big curve out there.
Yeah,
Also, you throw that in there, ripping the top. I think of Huset's. You also go to Huset's quite a bit. You've already knocked off 2 of the trifecta kind of right here, this triangle right here with Jackson, Knoxville. You guys go up to Huset's pretty much every week, and then you also travel around with sprint innovators a little bit. Talk about branching out. You've obviously said you've gone down to Florida and raced and everything else. What's it been like kind of going around the Midwest and outside the Midwest racing sprint cars?
Yeah, so I've, over the last 4 years, I've gotten obviously an awesome opportunity to be able to travel a little bit more. The last 2 springs I got to go race Volusia in January, actually. So that's, all it does is help when I come back here to Knoxville or, go to Huset's. The more I travel and the more racetracks I go to, and really the more I get my butt kicked, it's only helped me. Last weekend during High Banks, I think I ran the C main all 4 nights, and that was the week after I won here. But then, coming back here tonight, my confidence is at an all-time high, just because I feel like as important as it is to have your highs, it's also really important to have lows, because it humbles yourself and makes you learn and adapt to it. So, traveling around, I've gotten to do new things, see new things, meet and make a lot of friends. So, it's been a blast going down to Florida, and went down to Texas a couple years ago. So, it's been an awesome experience.
I want to come back to that. We kind of glossed over your win here.
Yeah, kind of. How about that? How was that? Do you remember it from 2 weeks ago?
We've talked to a few guys that have won here for the first time recently, and we've asked them, what was that right-hand turn like?
Oh man, that was so cool. And Skyler, he'd always bug me. He goes, okay, I finished podium, but Chris hasn't won, I haven't won, so you got to do it. So it felt really good to be kind of the first one in our little circle to do it, and I'm ready for the next one.
Yeah.
Chris, he made a joke after the Victory Lane interview. He goes, man, Cam, when I saw you climb up on top of the wing, I got real nervous that there was going to be a hole in it. And wing was fine.
Yeah.
It's a new Hawk wing. Ryan from Jackson, Minnesota makes a pretty nice wing. Held up when I did a wing dance.
How tall are you?
You were testing
how
a little bit.
tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
6'3".
So
There's the official height.
Yep. I'm a tall. I'm not super big, but I'm really tall. So that was cool, and I hate to bash on anyone, but I see a lot of like these top sprint car drivers in the world. They win a race, they do a kind of half-ass celebration.
Yeah.
You just
do
win
their
too much.
interview.
I think you win, and you're just like, it's second nature. You're like, I'll win again. I don't need to celebrate that hard.
So I tell Skylar and I tell my dad, I'm like, the day I stop celebrating like it's my first win ever, it's at that point, what are you doing, right? So I think, celebrating is a really good thing and a really, healthy thing. So from here on out, every win, I'm probably going to do a wing dance. It took everything in me not to start doing donuts in turn 4.
You should have.
Well, yeah, I didn't.
Then you pull a PPM.
And then you flip.
Yeah, that was running through my head because I saw him do that a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, well, Dad, he'd still be happy, but he'd also be mad, and it was, so maybe if I win nationals, I'll do donuts. It's something I always like bring up to Skylar. I'm like, man, people are winning at Knoxville, and I've been coming here since I was a little kid. I've never seen anyone do victory donuts here.
I think I've seen it only like maybe a couple times.
It's not often, but it's awesome when it happens.
I'm a lot older than you, so.
It's awesome when it happens.
I liked hearing what you said about your brother too, because we've had a few first-time winners here, and it's really cool being in there and seeing the emotion and everything out of you. It was cool seeing your brother was so happy for you.
Yeah.
Kind of alluding to what you were saying earlier with the ups and the downs. We've talked about that with other guys as well. Like who do you have like in your support group? You kind of talked about your little group that you've got there. Those guys help kind of keep you grounded through those ups and downs.
Oh yeah. Chris, he's 28 or just turned 29 now. So he's been doing it a long time, and he's had a lot of highs and a lot of lows. So he's always usually one of the first people I go to talk to. I'm like, man, I really kind of sucked last weekend. What kind of advice can you give me? And he's always right there for me. My dad, he's always pushing all of us to be better. He's someone I really look up to because he started really low when he was my age, and he's never stopped working, and it's really paid off for him. So he's someone I really look up to. My mom, I'm really close to her. She's always there supporting me, trying to make me a better person, a nicer person, which I'm super thankful for, because I see a lot of people walk around the pit area and they're always grumpy, or they have one bad night and then they show up the next weekend and they're just grumpy, and it affects, their whole pit area, the whole night racing. So I really give props to my mom for raising me the way she did and making me look at the bright side of things.
I rarely see you without a smile down here, so it seems like it's rubbed off pretty well.
We saw tonight Tyler Groenendyk picked up his second win of his career in a 360, and for a long time it was like, when's he finally going to get one? Now he's got one. Now he's got two. You just picked up your first win. Been trying for a couple years here at Knoxville. Do you feel any different? Did a monkey jump off your back a little bit, and now you just kind of feel like, okay, I can do it once?
Yeah.
And you don't seem like someone that would doubt yourself, but now you're like, I can do it once. I could probably do it again. Is that kind of the thought process?
Oh, 100%. The last 3 years I had one quick time last year, and then the championship night I got really close, running second. But just getting a win here, it's like you said, it's a monkey off my back, and my confidence is super high. I ran fourth tonight, which I'm ecstatic about because, a year or two ago, it was awesome just to run in the top 15, or, it was an amazing night if I could make it into the top 10. So, being able to pull off a win, and some people will say, oh, you started on the front row, but here, when you got Clint Gardner next to you, Tyler Groenendyk, he's so good in clean air behind you. Tasker, he knows how to keep his right foot on the floor pan.
Yeah.
When you have all those guys behind you, you can't slack. You know, you got to be on your game, hit your marks. So yeah, getting a win here was definitely a good thing, and kind of has given me a new perspective. You know, especially going into tonight, my confidence was at all-time high.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to have a little bit of luck with like the invert and everything. So started 5th tonight, made my way up to 4th, battled for 3rd a little bit, but nothing to hang my head down about because there was 26 guys behind me.
Yeah.
So I've been having fun here. Skylar and I, we've been working really hard and really good together, getting better. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're 6th in points. I don't think this is updated yet. Do you keep up on that all that much?
A little bit. I know like earlier in the year I was 3rd or 4th, and then I had a DNF one night. You know, I try not to keep up with points.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who would rather win as many races as I can.
Yeah.
Then it takes care of itself.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like last year I actually got to win my first points championship. That Greg Parent puts on the Midwest Power Series.
Yep.
So I've got that behind me, but even then I really
want
wasn't.
more. Yeah. You want more.
Yeah, I want more wins, and I want more big wins. So that's why I think we're going to go to Belleville this Thursday, Friday, compete with the National Tour guys. You know, Chris, he has a National Tour win from 2018 or 2019 when he was on the tour. So want to just keep chasing that, keep getting better, and then, you know, as time will come, championships will come, more wins will come. So
Leads into a question I had for you too. Do you have plans to branch out here in the future, outside of just kind of competing, I don't know, super regionally, I guess, if you will?
Yeah, it's always been a talk, whether that be like go IRA racing or go Power I racing, or, you know, commit to a full Knoxville and Huset schedule.
And I guess sorry to interrupt. Like in a 410.
Yeah.
Like you want to
Yep.
eventually get up to 410.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
I think we kind of talked about and determined this will probably be my last year prioritizing the 360.
Yep.
Just because unfortunately I love the 360. There's just not a whole lot of 360 racing around these parts anymore.
Not a lot of big paying 360 races.
Correct. So obviously I'm going into my junior year of college, so that's a priority during school months. But yeah, definitely in the near future we have IRA in our sights, and you know, after that, if I can make a living out of this, that would be pretty sweet. And then, you know, I'm sure High Limit will be around, Outlaws will be around. You know, just keep progressing. And
it is pretty cool. Like we've seen these regional tours around the Midwest also that has really boosted what your options are.
Yeah.
Even if you can't quite make the leap to High Limit or World of Outlaws for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah.
Talked about big paying 360 races, Blake. We got one coming up.
We do. I mean, that's a big one that I know you guys probably circle. And, you know, how much do you look ahead to some of those things? Because obviously, I don't know if you've seen the entry list for the 360 Nationals, but there's a lot of heavy hitters coming to town this year. Those are big for you. You know, see where you stack up. Obviously, the 3M night's going to be big for the special $10,000. A lot of guys are going to go to Eldora, so that might help free some stuff up for you guys. But how much do you look ahead to those big races? Are you just to take it week by week? Oh,
Yeah.
What $10,000? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, we try to look ahead.
Yeah.
You know, like we were looking at this Belleville thing, and that's $10,000
Yep.
to win on Friday. So that's why I really want to go to that. You know, it's a big half mile. I think we're really good on half miles right now, so want to go and try and take
Might as
some of
well.
their money. But yeah, like you said, 3M night, that's going to be a big night for us. And you know, all year, why we keep coming back to Knoxville every Saturday is so we can prepare for those big races. And like you said, I saw the 360 Knoxville Nationals entry list, and I saw Kyle Larson on there. I saw Brad Sleet on there, and
We've only got about half of High Limit.
I was gonna say.
yeah,
So far.
yeah. I was sitting on my couch earlier this week, and I was looking through it. I'm like, what in the world are these guys doing? I thought back to it like when all those guys go to the Tulsa shootout
Yep.
and they run the stock classes.
Right.
Small ones, you're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm like, come on, guys, just focus on the outlaw stuff at the shootout, or just do the Chili Bowl. But no, I think it's really cool, and it's something our sport needs is more big names.
Because there have been people this week on social media. We'll talk about it in the actual show, but a lot of people aren't happy. They're like, why are they doing this? But I'm glad to hear you say it's good for the sport and it's good for you guys.
Yep, I think it's fantastic for the sport. I think it's even better for myself. I'm looking at this from a positive point of view, but something I always kind of went off and have learned over the last couple of years, the better the people that you race, the better that you're going to become as a racer. So
Competition elevates.
Yeah.
yeah, here you can run every Saturday in the 360 class, and obviously there's really good guys in the 360
Absolutely.
class, but you're just gonna run the same guys. They're gonna do the same thing. They kind of have
Not much
a
changes.
pattern.
Yeah.
Right. So and that kind of leads back to the traveling thing. Is just, when you get to race against those guys, they're gonna teach you so much, because one guy might throw a slide job on you, and you gotta decide whether you're gonna keep your foot in it or lift. And the guy that might be throwing a slide job on you, you might not even know his name. So you kind of gotta adjust and figure it out as you go. But Kyle Larson and Tyler Courtney and Brad Sweet, they might come and
Some heavy
sweep up,
hitters.
but it gives us a sense of determination to get better so we can compete with those guys.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm like you said, I'm sure we already talked about it in the beginning of the show. Like, on one hand, I understand where some fans are coming from, like, oh, let the 360 guys race for the big money, yada yada yada. But it's like, this is a big event, and like we want to see the best of the best here.
and
like,
it's growing quick. Larson
is.
coming helps grow this
that's
exponentially.
That's a big deal.
Yeah,
that
the
Larson's
fact that he's
gonna be
skipping out
here.
on the Ironman to go run 3-6 nationals, Knoxville should be honored. Same thing with Brad Sweet. Two guys who have won it in the last 5 years. It's a big deal.
That's a NASCAR Cup champion.
Yeah.
You got however many World of Outlaws.
It helps
championships.
NASCAR's here, but we don't have to think about that. The logistics don't matter.
Yeah.
You've run a little bit with Sprint Invaders. I've obviously called a couple Sprint Invaders racing. You talk about racing with really cool and really good drivers. Paul Nienheiser is quietly one of the best drivers in the Midwest. What's it like racing Sprint Invaders on a weekly basis and to all these different tracks? I mean, you were at Stewart, weren't you? And just all these different spots. Cade's obviously raced a couple Sprint Invaders races. Like a lot of guys we talked to. Talk about that series.
Sprint Invaders are great. Chris has ran there for
Quite a bit.
I think his first ever sprint car race here in Iowa was a Sprint Invader race, and he's a 2-time champion. I think he's got, a dozen wins with them. I've always gotten along with the old owners and the new owners. It's just a really good series to go to on a Friday or a Sunday, or in a couple weeks they have a race at Oski on a Thursday.
And Nienheiser's fun to watch. He keeps everybody in check.
Yeah,
He's unbelievable.
So it's, you watch TV and there's always the one hot shot guy in the local. That's definitely
Paul Nienheiser.
Yeah, and I've always gotten along with him, raced really well with him. He's super good.
I wish he'd come here. I can see why he doesn't, because he's just so good. Not really a big half-mile guy, but man, he's just fun to watch.
Yeah, no, he's on that, county fair racetrack stuff, quarter-mile stuff. He's
Benton, Stewart, all these. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's good, and eventually I want to adventure down to Jacksonville in Illinois.
that place looks so badass.
Yeah, I got to go there once last summer in a 360.
Yeah,
but
Chase Porter won. Yeah.
Yep, I really want to go in a 410.
Absolutely.
So before we close it out, are you a big racing fan? Do you watch a lot when you're not racing?
Yeah. Yep. Like last night, I had both the Outlaws and the High Limit show on. Had the High Limit guys on earlier. Usually on my drive home from every race, I'm scrolling through my race pass. Looking
not while driving.
No. Passenger.
That's a law on July 1st. You can't have a screen up in your car, so I can't.
Nope. When I'm riding passenger, and through racing, I've gotten to make so many friends from here at Knoxville all the way out to the West Coast. So I always am interested in seeing where they finished, and then I'll text them and be like, "Hey, good job, you won," or "Hey, why'd you
What happened?
So I'm huge race fan. Like I said, you know, there's a picture out there somewhere where when Chris used to race at Newton Kart Club when I was a wee baby.
A wee lad.
Yep. There's a picture of me sitting on his go-kart while he was waiting and staging.
That's
So
That's cool.
yeah, I love racing. And I always joke, like, if you don't love racing to like go and show up happy every week, go buy a boat.
Right.
There you go.
So yeah.
I got a quick question because we were literally disputing about this in the booth. When you watch, do you start by watching at the beginning of the night? Like, do you watch hot laps and stuff? Or are you one of those guys that'll scroll Twitter and then be like, oh, the A-main's on? I personally am one that watches the whole night. I'll watch hot laps. Josh the same way. Are you one that watches the whole night?
Yes.
We're
Good.
We're sick.
Good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we're sickos and we're proud of it.
I love watching people hot lap and
Qualifying's awesome. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
qualifying,
Yeah.
and not enough people like qualifying.
No, I think qualifying, obviously seeing 900 horsepower, 1,000-pound cars try and, you know, hit each other and kill each other
That's
every lap
fun.
is
Yeah.
sweet. But qualifying, maybe it's just like a huge racer or a huge race fan point of view. I think qualifying's sweet.
It's
to
an
watch.
art. It
Yeah.
is literally an art to watch qualifying. So
And unfortunately for our buddy Cade, we've seen that if you don't start off the night very well qualifying, it can really
Cade-
set you back.
Cade is. I don't think we said it. Cade is
did
not
not.
here because he finished 12th. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Cade wasn't feeling too great. A little bit of a headache. The heat probably got to him, so that's why Cade's not here. But Cam, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on the win a couple weeks ago. We can't wait to see a couple more here, and excited to see you here in a 410 next year.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
Cut.
Thanks again to Cam Martin for sitting down. That was a lot of fun, Blake. I wish Cade would have been able to make it, but kind of said that. We weren't quite sure what we were going to get out of the youngster, but we had quite the conversation.
Really good.
So I think
Really
I think people are really going to enjoy that. Yeah. So next week, Blake, we're
Busy week. Go ahead,
Oh.
read everything that's happening on Saturday.
yeah. It's a we get warmed up
Take a
for
breath.
this. This is a lot to read. First off, I mean, I think we could probably have the entire
Yeah,
high
outlaw
limit and outlaw field with us. So please, weather, cooperate, because it's not looking the greatest a week out. But as we know in the Midwest, that can certainly change.
Yeah, it's a long ways away.
Yeah, but we've got the Nolan Wren Memorial Higher Enterprises Midseason Championship, along with the Knoxville Raceway Hall of Fame night that is on Saturday, July 5th. Be safe on Friday night,
Yeah,
everybody.
don't blow your fingers off. Maybe
Yes.
keep all 10 fingers with you when you come to the
Yes.
racetrack. on
we don't
Saturday,
need you
please.
being like Jason Pierre-Paul from back in the day on the football player blowing your hand off. So
Your fingers are very important. Please
Yes.
keep them on.
yeah, get a driver. Don't drive drive after drinking. So
Enjoy some
and make
hot
sure
dog.
yeah, and hydrate because it's going to be hotter than hell again.
it's
So
gonna be
hydrate. Be ready for all those festivities later in the week. And also drop a comment if you're excited to come and watch us during the four days of nationals. I think the time that we're going to be out at the stage, I didn't mention it earlier, it's going to be about 1 p.m. every day, 4 days of nationals. So drop a comment below. Let us know if you're going to be stopping by and seeing us, and also keep an eye out. We're going to have some shirts, some merch coming out here probably within the next week or so.
I don't even have a shirt.
You guys keep asking. Blake
have a
needs one.
sweatshirt.
Kate has a kind of a bad.
I'm with the crowd, the fans. I don't have a shirt. People are like, where do I get a shirt? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even have one.
Kate has a rough one of one shirt that was supposed to be an XL and it
Caleb
was like
Johnson
a child's
my
small.
shirt. I don't
So keep an eye out for that as well. We'll get that out. It's cool. Thank you so much for asking about that and supporting us because did not expect anything like this in the first year of this. So say it every week. Make sure you're following us. We post a lot. We're trying to get more stuff out throughout the night when we're racing on Saturday nights. So follow us at Knoxville Nights on Instagram. We're on TikTok also. I always forget to say that. I'm on TikTok, Knoxville Nights with no O on Twitter, X, and then of course YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the stuff. And then I'm at Josh_Gerlach on Twitter. Cade is at Cade Higday, and Blake is at Blake_Walker8. That'll do it for episode 12. We got episode lucky 13 next week. Hopefully we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about with a lot of race cars. We'll see you next week.